Right. Well, we all know the holidays are approaching fast and children are making their lists and maybe checking them twice. But what if your kid's dream toy is a privacy nightmare? Yeah, hackers in the UK made this talking toucan using some foul language to highlight security flaws in the smart toy. So now let's bring in our panelists to discuss the downfalls of some so-called intelligent toys. We've got Mihal Livram, and she is a senior writer with Fortune magazine, and she's in Palo Alto. Thank you for joining us, the heart of Silicon Valley.
Thanks for having me.
And she joins us via Skype. And also in studio, we've got Nicole Verkindt, and she is an investor and tech entrepreneur. So maybe we should start with Mihal. How easy is it to hack some of these toys?
Unfortunately, it's pretty easy. In this case, I believe it was just done by pairing other Bluetooth enabled devices to this Bluetooth enabled toy. And so, unfortunately, if toys aren't encrypted in some way, like let's say with a password protection capability, they're very, very easy to pair with other devices. And hence, we have a foul mouthed toucan.
So that seems pretty dangerous on that front when it comes to hacking and giving it foul language, for example. And maybe Nicole will ask you, what sort of other information could be gathered then?
Well, I mean, you can do a lot with hacking, right? If you open a link on a computer, somebody could take over your webcam and they could listen to you and send you directions. And with these toys, they could actually be talking to the kids. So there's a lot that you can do with hacking. But I think you really have to look at some of the worst case scenarios of what could really happen. I mean, in this case, you have a child that's going to be learning some swear words a little earlier than you had planned. But how different is that from the physical world of maybe a stranger coming up to your kid and saying, "Hey, I want to give you some candy"? So I think we have to take this all into perspective in terms of what could really happen here.
And maybe I'll ask the same question to you also, Mihal. In terms of information gathering, what sort of information do you believe could be gathered, and how dangerous does it make it?
It really depends on the toy. I mean, this could potentially be very dangerous. And then it's not, by the way, the first time that this has happened. Other toys have been hacked or, have shown the potential to be hacked. It's not really that hard to do in most cases. Again, because a lot of the very simple protections are missing from some of these products. But, if you've got a little kid who's talking to a toy that's recording their voice, there's going to be all sorts of personal information. And you've got a lot of toys now that connect to the internet. That means that they're also connected to some of your digital identity or the parent's digital identity. And so that could be anything from credit card information, address, you name it. So the potential here is definitely to be really dangerous, not to freak people out, but just to put out there, the last toy I got for my kids was Monopoly. So, I think you really have to be careful with some of them are very, very cool, some of these new toys, and some companies are taking a much more responsible approach, but you definitely have to be careful when buying them.
And then finally, Nicole, I want to go to you on this. And you're right, Mihal, we don't want to freak people out. But what should parents keep in mind then?
Well, I think they need to be aware. And this story is really just getting started as we go to the smart home. I believe there's going to be a lot of smart home devices that are gifted throughout Christmas to adults as well. The connected car, all the Internet of Things devices. I think cyber warfare really is going to be that arms race of the next year and the next few years to come, where we're going to be having more connected things, including lots of different types of toys, and we're going to be having more cyber security, and it's just going to keep sort of chasing after each other. So this isn't over. We're going to keep hearing of new animals that are you can hack, and it's going to keep going.
So everyone just has to be vigilant, I guess. Now, we'll move on from toys to currency now, cryptocurrency. This week, Bitcoin investors made a killing. The cryptocurrency climbed above $16,000 US. Now, Bitcoin and other digital dollars promise to make overnight millionaires, if not billionaires. So first, let's explain Bitcoins. They are an online currency that was created in 2009, and they exist only online, digitally. Bitcoins are not tied to any country or regulation. So why are we all talking about this now? Well, there's been a recent investing frenzy in Bitcoin. One Bitcoin currently costs a little under $20,000 Canadian. So that's partially due to Wall Street putting investors' money into Bitcoin. So Before you think about getting into the action and in on the action, we want to talk about what happens as cryptocurrency goes mainstream. So let's again bring in Michal Livram from Fortune Magazine and tech entrepreneur Nicole Verkindt. And, it's important to note here also that, Nicole, with you, that you are an official advisor for Crypto Global, a Canadian cryptocurrency mining company. So we just want to have some full transparency on that front there. So maybe we'll first ask you, Michal, this question. Lots of people are looking into getting into the Bitcoin market. Is now the right time?
I would say, and for full disclosure, I am not invested in cryptocurrencies of any sort. But I would say the right time was probably several months or years ago when it was trading at much, much, much lower values. I mean, I think the concern now is obviously that there's going to be a big crash here, and there are a lot of comparisons being made to what's potentially going to happen with Bitcoin, and what happened in the 90s with the dot-com bubble bursting. It's crazy high valuations that aren't necessarily tied to real value. So I would say sell, not buy.
Okay, so that's one piece of advice there. Maybe Nicole would have a different piece of advice. But first, we also want to look at the technology behind Bitcoin. So the technology behind it is this blockchain, and it creates a public and permanent record of every interaction. So maybe you could explain why this technology is so important.
Oh, this technology is really exciting, and one thing that's for sure is blockchain is going nowhere. It's for sure going to be the future. Having a single ledger system, one place digitally where you can track who owns what in the digital universe, and it's being used in lots of different applications. So at my company, OMX, we're a supply chain management platform. We're looking at using it to verify data of what suppliers can do. So there's one location that says this supplier does this or does not do this. You can use it for all sorts of different applications. We've seen Bitcoin kind of be the darling, but it's going to be all about mining lots of different types of cryptocurrencies. It's really about going peer to peer and having this system of trust in the digital world where you can say, I know for sure that I'm the only one that has this piece of currency and that there's a limited number of this currency. And I think we're going to see this more in lots of developing countries. I was in Argentina recently where they don't trust their government. They're thinking that the currency will be devalued overnight. And so they want to go to a different system that they can trust. So I think blockchain is for sure here to stay, and it's only going to become more mainstream.
So, I think if I'm understanding you correctly, you're pretty clearly saying that cryptocurrency, for example, is the way of the future. This is something that we will continue to see in a few decades.
I believe we're going peer-to-peer in every area of the market. You're seeing Airbnb going peer-to-peer. You're seeing lots of peer-to-peer lending. You're seeing Zipcar is peer-to-peer. There's lots of different examples now where technology is enabling people to transact through marketplaces online directly and removing intermediaries, which add a lot of cost and inefficiencies. And in some cases, some people don't trust intermediaries, not so much in Canada, but globally, we're going to see the use of this technology to be able to keep a single ledger system, a single point of contact to say who owns what information, and the more stuff we do digitally. And so there's over 800 types of cryptocurrency, and judging where we're at with Bitcoin and how expensive that is, and if you should go in or out. Now, I don't know the answer to that either, but I do believe that cryptocurrencies will be the way of the future in terms of the blockchain technology enabling lots of different activities.
And Michal, I just sort of want to put that question to you too, because you somewhat said that you don't believe now is a good time to get into Bitcoin, but do you think it's going to be around for decades? Or, given the fact that you would invest in it, maybe not. Maybe you don't think so.
I don't know if Bitcoin specifically is going to be around for decades, but I totally agree. I think cryptocurrencies, I think the underlying blockchain technology absolutely will be around, and there are a lot of large, very established companies that are pretty conservative companies that are looking into ways to harness that underlying technology. Again, going back to the bubble in the 90s, the dot-com bubble, those companies didn't amount to much, and there was a lot of value that was destroyed, and capital that went to waste. But a lot of the underlying internet technologies that bubbled up at the time, those are very much still around today, and those did end up creating a lot of value.
All right, so there's still a lot to discuss on this, but we have to move on to the next topic. And so if it's not, if you don't want to trade in cryptocurrency, you could always consider a crypto kitty. It's a game created by a Canadian tech company and built into the cryptocurrency Ethereum. Users buy cats like bitcoins and can breed or trade them. Yes, I'm scratching my head too. And business is booming. Some CryptoKitties are selling for almost $100,000 Canadian. Okay, so Mihal, I'll put this to you first. What is the appeal with CryptoKitties?
You know what? This isn't the first such fad that we've seen. I clearly am not the right demographic because I really don't get it. But you know, we saw Pokemon Go, we saw other similar fads, and people just love these digital. I mean, they're like digital Beanie Babies. That's all they are. You know, I don't see a lot of value in real Beanie Babies, the physical ones, and so digital ones don't hold a lot of appeal for me. But they're selling like crazy. They're actually apparently slowing down Ethereum's network. This is the network that is offering them, basically selling them, and so people are making money from this. It's crazy the prices that some of these are trading for. But you know, you asked earlier if Bitcoin would be around for decades. I can tell you with 99.999% certainty that CryptoKitties will not be around for decades.
Okay.
That's my take.
Okay, we'll take your word on that. We'll carry that one into the decades. So, Nicole, let's go to you for this next question here. There's so much business with CryptoKitties right now. I mean, I've seen so many articles written about it that it's actually clogging the platform. So, do you think crypto collectibles are the next step in cryptocurrency? If not CryptoKitties, but crypto collectibles, maybe the next one.
I think there is a place for them. I agree. I hope I'm not trading cryptocurrencies or CryptoKitties in 20 years. But if you think about this idea that back in the day you would have bought a Beanie Baby because they said we're only going to have so many of this animal, and you go, well, this is exclusive, I own it, and now it could go up in value. This is the ability to do that in a digital world and say, for sure, this kitty that's been bred and it's got these special characteristics, you get more money if it's Jaguar-like. And if it was bred earlier on, you get more money. For sure, there's a place to use this as a model to say, if we want to create exclusivity in the digital trading world, this is a way to do it on the blockchain technology. So to me, I think it's crazy. I think it's nuts to be trading these things and to have full enjoyment from it. But I think as a model to say the future of digital trade could look something like this, it's an interesting thought.
Well, we'd like to thank both of you. An interesting discussion.